Do you think our Clippers teams were good enough to win? Like, did we squander something? Or are we all just delusional and thinking that maybe we could have won?
No. I think our best chance was. I thought we had a chance in 2014 playoffs, and I'm sorry, 14 and 15 playoffs.
Yeah. I thought those 2 years were our best years. Steph and the Warriors going sort of supernova in 16 and going 73-9, and then they bring Kevin. And by that time, and I want to actually kind of touch on this a little bit, by 17, by that last year that I was there, and sort of I think the sixth year that you guys were together, Jamal was there 5 of those years. You, Chris, and Blake were there 6 years together.
I am Blake,
yeah.
DJ.
Yeah, DJ. Right. You are Blake. But that sort of fourth year that I was there, like it was kind of apparent that the group was like disjointed in a way. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of wanted to get your sort of take on this. So Jamal and I have said this publicly before, but like there was some pettiness there that sort of split us up. Matt has mentioned mental toughness. Doc has talked a little bit about luck. I want to touch on the luck thing in a second, but sort of what do you think enabled us to sort of squander those opportunities, and specifically 14 and 15?
14 and 15, I think, 15 was just a complete mental breakdown. I don't think pettiness is why we lost in the playoffs, especially not that year.
No, not that year.
Or the year before we lost to Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
pettiness didn't lose those seasons for us. The next season was
you were hurt most of the year.
That was when we lost to Portland,
and then you and Chris got hurt in the first round, which was luck.
Portland
17 in 17, you got hurt in the first round. Again, some luck. Those first 2 years, again, I totally agree with you. Like those groups were two of my favorite groups, if not my favorite groups that I've had in 15 years of my career.
Mm-hmm.
Those were. You could sense it a little bit in 16. I feel like, and then in 17, like we started the season, I think 13-2, and then it was just like downhill after that.
Yeah. So those 2 years I think were the years that we really could have won. Before that, we weren't ready. I don't think we had the right team.
It's because you didn't have number 4.
Yeah, once we got JJ, the final final Infinity Stone is in place. I've said this to people. Like I don't think on like publicly, but I've said it just to people when they always ask me about the Clippers. I am in the camp where it wasn't quite as bad as people try to make it out to be. I really don't think it was. Maybe towards the end, maybe like when some other things happened, but especially not. That's not the reason we didn't win a championship. Because our 2 chances to win a championship were those 2 years. After that, like you said, the Warriors and LeBron, they were just going back and forth. That was crazy.
We weren't good enough in 17.
No.
16, we had a very small window for about 2.5 hours prior to Game 4, I think, in Portland. Yeah. Steph sprains his knee. And then in the second half, you tore your quad tendon and CP broke his hand. And there was our little window to win the West. That was gone. Yeah. 14 and 15 were absolutely. And I think in describing sort of pettiness, that was more in reference to that fourth year. Because up until that last year, like I had just enjoyed my experience so much. Yeah. I kind of agree with Matt on the mental toughness thing. Like there were some things that happened in those playoff runs in 14 and in 15 that were just like a little bit of a breakdown, which is shocking considering what we had to go through in the first round in 14 with the Golden State series and having to deal with the Sterling stuff. Yeah. So there's like I remember like going. I think it was that. When we were at Oklahoma City for Game 5, and we were up, and then we just tricked off that lead. Like our mental toughness needed to be better after that. You know what I mean? Correct.
To me, it wasn't like it wasn't pettiness, like I keep saying, but it was just like we were so deflated by that game that we couldn't pick ourselves back up to come home and win one, and then force a Game 7. And we still would have had to go back on the road and win a Game 7. But whatever.
I think we were up 19 in the second quarter against OKC in Game 6 at home, and Kevin Durant went nuclear. And again, his mental toughness, because we didn't respond to that run he had in the second quarter that brought the game within striking distance, and then we didn't have a great second half, and the season was over.
When these runs are happening, like obviously in the Houston series, is there just a part of you that's just like, here we go again?
No. I want to say Game 6. Like I still go back. I go back to that all the time. I think about it all the time, and I was so sure that team was going to win a championship. I was so sure of it, and when that happened, like you're in the moment. You're like this is like Josh Smith is hitting three step back threes. Brewer's hitting threes. Like you're kind of like, what's going on? Like we're still better than these guys. We're going to still win this game. We don't win the game. We go to Game 7. I don't know if you remember this. We came out of a timeout in the second half in Game 7 against Houston. I came over to you and I was like, BG, like I don't think I've ever been this tired in my life.
Yeah.
Like that run and it was an accumulation too of the first round against the Spurs.
Yeah. And it was also, remember, we had to play without CP the first 2 games of the Houston series. Yeah. So that just like, when you take him off the floor, now everybody's job has to go up exponentially because he did so much for us. So I think that was part of it too. At least for me, I felt like those first 2 games were like exhausting, and we split them, and we had to, and we won a game, but I think it was just a lot of like 7-game series with the Spurs, and that Spurs series was we were so mentally locked in.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever.
I cried. It was so weird because I played in a lot of playoff games, and I've never won a championship, but I made the finals, and that was the only series that I cried after that we won. Like I cried. That series they were the defending champs. Yeah. And I feel like we took their best. We were a better team. We really were, but like we took their best shot. Yeah.